Hello everyone, welcome to the Watercolor space. I'm so happy you're here with me today. No matter if you're here to paint along or you're just here to unwind and let the colors and story wash over you, you are truly welcome here. I feel honored to share these minutes of creativity together, to breathe, slow down, and let watercolor carry us. As some of you may know, I traveled to Belgium this summer, and here are tiny moments that sparked my inspiration. Today, we'll paint a scene that caught my eye in Antwerp's Botanical Garden, and along the way I'll share bits of Flemish history and the stories that made this trip with my family so meaningful. Today, we will try to let go and simply be here together. Trust our creative intuition as our brushes find their own paths. We'll embrace the freedom of loose brush strokes, letting the water and color flow together, and allowing those unexpected moments and let them become part of our story. I'll name every color and tool as we go, so it's easy to follow along. Please share your thoughts, questions, or your own experiences with me in the comment section below. Today, I'm working on a rough 140-pound paper I discovered in the art store in Belgium, and we'll simply watch how water moves, how pigment blooms, and how a memory becomes a painting. I'm opening up this paper pad with a simple plastic knife here. Each sheet is glued, this way each paper stays clean and flat while we work. You know, I first sketched this little gardener's house in a travel sketchbook, and I enjoyed the way it turned out that I wanted to paint it again on this rough surface to see how a new paper would change the scene. And now, before we start, let's look at our reference photo together. Take a slow, deep breath, maybe a sip of something comforting. I've got warm coffee with coconut vanilla milk beside me. As the image comes up, there is a little tug of sadness in this moment. I love the scene so much, but we didn't get the chance to linger there in the garden, to stand still and soak it in for even a few more minutes. We were on our way back to the apartment, tired from the day of walking, and yet that one passing glimpse, this brick house tucked into a small botanical garden, caught my eye and wouldn't let go. As I begin laying down the loose pencil sketch, I love letting my mind wander. I think about this old gardener's house nestled right at the edge of Antwerp's Botanical Garden, also known as the Plantain. If I listen closely, I can almost imagine the footsteps of those who cared for it, tending plants and flowers through the changing years. This garden traces its roots all the way back to the days when the site was home to a hospital, the St. Elizabeth Gastis. The hospital stood next door, and I like to picture the patients and caregivers from centuries past stepping outside, perhaps for a breath of fresh air, maybe resting under the trees or gathering herbs growing right here for their healing properties. The garden was filled with medicinal plants, looked after by attentive hands, the gardener's house always standing quietly nearby. The plantain has roots stretching back to 1825, created at a time when the city was thriving as a center of trade, culture, and innovation. It was initially established as a medicinal herb garden for the nearby hospital, reflecting the deep connection between nature, healing, and everyday life in Antwerp. The gardener's house, built in 1870, is a picturesque brick cottage near the entrance, a reminder of the people who tended these living collections. The entire site harmonizes brick, wrought iron, and lush planting, creating a sanctuary right in the heart of the city. For Antwerp's people, the plantation has always been a place of healing and respite, a space where city life slows down and where knowledge, beauty, and health are woven together. Today, the garden is surrounded by historic and modern buildings alike. The old hospital site is now a hotel, and it remains open to all. A pocket of calm for locals and visitors, a celebration of the city's enduring relationship with nature and community. Now, let's begin laying down our first wash and allow the colors to settle where it wants and begin setting the mood of this beautiful place. Alright, let's pause for a moment and review what we've created together so far. I mapped out the slow sketch of a place that spoke to my heart. Just enough information to guide me when water and color begin their dance. I love keeping sketches light and open, leaving room for watercolor to surprise me. I pre-wet the sky and began with a soft sweep of cerulean blue, then deepen it with touches of cobalt and ultramarine, letting the richest color glide along the top, then fade down near the horizon, where the world always feels a little further away, a little softer. Moving to the midground, I went in with loose broad washes of yellow ochre. And you know what? This is my first time painting on Magnani paper. I truly have no idea how it will react, and I'm letting go of any need to predict or perfect. My only job right now is to show up, notice and enjoy what unfolds. I hope you feel that way too, that sense of just being here, right now, letting the colors and textures embrace you. You saw me reach for cobalt violet, then alizarin crimson, glazing that first veil to build light and atmosphere. I'm not thinking about mistakes or results right now, only about layering emotions and watching the painting slowly come alive. You don't need the same paper or even the same pigments. Simply use whatever you have and trust that your painting, like this garden, will surprise you in the most beautiful ways. and I'm now working on the second wash, which will remain loose and free, just the way I enjoy my watercolors. You know, our trip to Belgium has been on my mind since we came back home, and I want to share a little of that with you as we paint. I never thought I'd enjoy Belgium so much. The lush green open spaces took me by surprise, and the water canals winding through historic Ghent, Bruges and Mechelen made the whole place feel like stepping into a storybook. My son and I toured these enchanting towns on boats, sometimes just the two of us, when I needed a rest from too much walking, and he was eager to explore every highlight along the canals. These moments were pure magic to him and me. Each of these cities were overflowing with history, beauty, and a wonderful sense of place. And I'll never forget the taste of Belgian waffles and chocolate, simple joys that made the trip even sweeter. Our home base for the trip was Antwerp, staying with our beloved brother and our dear mom. There is something special about having a little anchor point like that. It meant I could wander the streets, breathe in the town's rhythm, and take in corners of Antwerp at my own pace. One of the highlights for me was passing the Royal Academy of Fine Arts, knowing that Vincent van Gogh himself spent time there, even if briefly. As I walked those old streets, I found myself wondering about his life in Antwerp. Did he ever walk past the same botanical garden? Maybe he stood right where I did and observed this very gardener's house, sketchbook in hand, catching a moment of quiet beauty. It's funny, but those thoughts would just swirl around as I painted. What did he feel about this city? Did he ever pause in the garden and feel the same pull I did? Would he have wanted to sketch this house, or was he too restless searching for color somewhere else? While in Europe, we were lucky enough to make a pilgrimage of sorts to the Van Gogh Museum in Amsterdam. Standing in front of his letters written to his brother Theo, and see how he'd flip a canvas to save money, painting on both sides, there is something profoundly moving about being so close to the reality of his life. His deep love for nature, for ordinary places, and for the people around him speaks so clearly to my heart. Van Gogh's story is certainly tragic in many ways, but I truly believe he found real joy in those moments where he was painting, lost in the colors and the world he created. Somehow, in these small shared moments, painting, wondering, imagining, I feel a thread of connection to that same happiness and to all the places and people that shape the art we make. As I'm wrapping up these first layers of color, I can feel myself getting attached to this piece. I actually shared recently, maybe you saw it in my community post, how much I struggle to move past this loose early stage. Almost as if adding more risks, losing something precious, some magic in the mist. For a while I sat with that feeling, not wanting to overpower the painting with more details. But then I reminded myself of the theme we're circling back to today. Letting go, trusting where the process might take us, even if it means risking those happy accidents for something honest and new. So I decided to push forward, just to see where the painting wants to go, not forcing it, but following it.
Try not to today. Otherwise we're gonna have to push the boat. 6 kilometri sem contatto siamo 4 destro. Eine Nordfrontzeit, die Geschwindigkeit Familie. Der Fondor, Shalom Shukran. Arigato
As you can see, even when I add details, I keep them loose and suggestive. It's just the way my hand likes to move, and I think it says a little bit about who I am. Some of you may prefer a more realistic look, others love dancing toward abstraction. Both are wonderful paths. I hope that by sharing how I paint, I can support you wherever you are on your own creative journey, maybe spark a bit of inspiration or encouragement along the way. Or maybe you are brand new to watercolors, or perhaps you've been painting for a while and still find the medium a mystery. To tell you the truth, I feel like I'll be learning about watercolor for the rest of my life. That's what keeps me so drawn to this art form. Even after years of painting, it refuses to be fully tamed. Watercolor humbles you, and that's a good thing. For me, the most important thing is to make room for the messes, mistakes, even the feelings of frustration or doubt that crop up, especially if you are starting out. I promise those feelings are normal. They are not a sign you are failing, they are proof that you are growing and stretching. The best thing you can do is to accept those feelings, let them be what they are, and keep showing up. Because this medium has a way of surprising you, sometimes in the most magical, unexpected moments. That's part of the gift. Now, bringing everything together, I want to thank all of you for being with me today, for painting, traveling, and dreaming together through every brushstroke and word. It means the world to share these quiet, creative moments with all of you. As I look back on this session, I am filled with gratitude for the journey we've taken, not only through the colors on the page, but through the memories and stories that thread together this painting. We began by opening the doors to Belgium and the Netherlands, boarding trains and wandering centuries-old squares, watching rain fall in Antwerp and Ghent, hearing the echoes of history along ancient stones. Our home base was Antwerp, a city bursting with art, beauty, and the quiet confidence of a place that inspired so many artists before us. Walking the streets made me feel deeply connected to the Royal Academy where Van Gogh walked for a brief but important moment, and to the city's lush plantation where the old gardener's house became the heart of our painting. And throughout today's session, I kept thinking about all the artists who felt inspiration among those cobbled streets and open green spaces. Their curiosity, their struggles, their relentless urge to capture something of their world. I like to imagine Van Gogh himself, posing in a garden, sketchbook in hand, just like us, feeling unsure, maybe frustrated, but pushing forward anyway, because something about the light or the air called to him. We spoke about history, yes, but also about the present, about the joy and vulnerability of trying something new. The rough Magnani paper that I ended up enjoying, the unpredictable dance of water and pigment, and the willingness to lose up and let intuition take over. I reminded you and myself how important it is to let go of perfection and embrace every stage. Watercolor, after all, has a personality all its own. It asks us to adapt and forgive. My dear friends, thank you so much for joining me today. Your presence, your questions, your stories, and creativity mean more to me than I can say. I really hope you feel encouraged by these moments, no matter where you are on your own creative paths. Maybe you are just starting out, unsure if you are doing it right, or maybe you've been painting for years and still discover that art keeps surprising you. Most of all, I want to leave you today with this: please be gentle with yourself. Let your art reflect your unique story. Celebrate the moments of ease and difficulty. Trust that just as Belgium's landscape inspired Van Gogh, there is beauty right where you are. Every cloudscape, every wildflower, every fleeting feeling is worth painting, worth remembering. I love you all, and until next time, may every brushstroke carry you a little closer to wonder.